getting fired from my 9 to 5 in 2019 has been one of the best things that could have happened to me. And oftentimes, when people are hit with these big life changing experiences, it can be very destabilizing. And it can also be very fearful, like a fearful experience, because now you are having to start over and you're having to figure out things. But for me, that experience has taught me a lot about learning how to pivot, which is really essential just for everyday life. Because what I have learned, just in my experience, is that nothing goes as planned. And so I have stopped planning everything down to the very detail and have just started experimenting with life and kind of just flowing with life. And that doesn't mean that I don't have loose plans, and that don't mean that I don't have, what do you want to say? Foundation. That doesn't mean that I don't have foundation set up. However, that means that I'm never planning for a plan B. Whenever I decide that I'm going to do something, it's always what the plan is in the moment. And there's never a plan B. Like, there's never a time where I'm like, okay, because I decided to, move out of the country right now, let me set up a plan B just in case it doesn't happen. I didn't. I didn't. Like, I did that. I moved out of the country in 2023 and I didn't set up a plan B. And when I came back, I had to figure it out. And that could have, that was a very strength building experience. Although it was a very depressing and dark experience, at the same time, it was building a level of resilience in me to show me that I can pretty much get through anything. You know what I'm saying? I think that, I have had so many instances in my life where I have had to pivot. And that one time in 2019, and I got fired from my 9 to 5. And I knew I was going to get fired. I just knew it. I knew it. I knew on that day that I was going to get fired. Um, I did not have a plan B at that time, but I knew that it was going to happen. And what I had started to do, and the reason why it was just like such a huge blessing is because what I had started to do was started to speak more. I got more in touch with my voice. I started to understand that there was something powerful here and that I had something impactful to say. I started writing more. I started dancing more. At that time, I was actually in prep for a bodybuilding competition. So, I'm in motion with that. And I'm just doing a lot more of the things that really set my soul on fire, right? That I really enjoy doing. And so when I got fired from that 9 to 5, I didn't even feel in that present moment, I didn't even feel like it, like I didn't feel any fear. I didn't feel any regrets. I wasn't upset. I wasn't mad. I was happy. I was so happy because I knew at that very moment in time that it was setting me on a trajectory of like greatness. Back then I was listening to a lot of law of attraction, a lot of, mindset, motivational, what do you call them? Motivational speeches. I listened to a lot of Wayne Dyer, a lot of Bob Proctor, I listened to a lot of motivational speeches, and it just helped me believe in myself. Honestly, it really did just set a belief in myself that no matter what happened, that I was going to be okay. And I knew that. I also knew that I knew that I had to have like this level of resistance to push me to go to the next level. And so even though I didn't want to like struggle and I didn't want to like be broke or whatever the situation may be, I knew that I had to have some type of grit, like some type of experience that was going to push me into the dream, that was going to push me to get it. And so, I tried a ton of things, along the journey, and I've always, ultimately ended up with, speaking and writing and, being a life coach. And so that's where I have landed now. But alongside that, I also have location freedom. So I travel whenever I want to travel. And I'm actually getting ready to move out of the country here in about 4 days. And I'm excited. I'm excited. But yeah, I just want to say that. Like, I want to remind you that no matter what, you're always going to have to pivot. That does not mean, I don't believe in planning for failure. It's just not a belief that I have in me. Like, to me, plan B is planning for failure because you think that plan A is not going to work, right? Instead of just allowing yourself to go with whatever you decide that you do want to do and then pivoting when the circumstances have changed. I feel like it's better to allow for that because that is how you are essentially following spirit. That's how you're following God. That's how you're allowing God and spirit to like lead the way. It's because they said, no, don't go over here. I just got fired from another job after not having worked in years. And I tried to get another job, and this year I got fired from that job after 2 weeks of being there. And God was like, come back over here. Let me lead you back on to this lane. Here, take my hand, and that's how I felt. It was like here, I got you. Like, let me get you back to where we know you should be. And so ultimately I ended up here. But I think that it's a really interesting journey. Love I love life. I love my life. I love seeing how far I can push my limits. I love pushing my limits. I love expanding. Like it's really cool to me, to be honest. Like it's so freaking cool. And I think one of the best parts about it is like spirit is always communicating with you. And so looking at the various ways that you are getting those messages, it just always blows my mind, whether it be in a song, whether it be in a billboard, whether it be, in nature, whether it be through conversation with somebody else or something that you're listening to, you always gonna get the answer to whatever it is you're asking for. And I'm just so amazed by like how you're set up. Like your ego be like, all right, I want this because it's comfortable. For example, I'm gonna give you an example. I haven't revealed where I'm going next. But where I'm going is a place that I've been, right? And the reason why I said, this will be a soft landing for me, to be back in foreign land is because it's familiar, right? Even though it's foreign, it's familiar. Like I've been there. I know the neighborhood. I know the neighborhood that I want to be in. I know the safe areas and the safe zones. I've been there before. And it's so funny that in a way it's still like my ego still wanted to keep me in this like safe box, and even the plan that I have for myself on like I'm going here to essentially save money and essentially lower my cost of living so that I can go farther. It's just funny. I'm sitting back and I'm letting things happen the way they need to happen. But it's just really interesting how our egos try to keep us safe and how our egos would try to just keep us rigid in, some specific plan. And in reality, like you're gonna have to keep pivoting. You're gonna have to keep pivoting. Like even it could be very small. It could be not even life changing pivots. It could be day to day pivots. It's a car accident right here. All right, now I gotta go this way. All right, well, they canceled the meeting today. Now I gotta do this instead of doing that. Like the pivots can be small, but I just say all of that to say is go with plan A. I just go with plan A. Just go with the plan and just see where in life it lands you. And we just go all the way back to the beginning, even for me. Like I got my master's in social work. Even just to go back to that, like go back from that, I got my bachelor's, you know, and then I didn't get accepted into, a I wanted to go to a PsyD program. I didn't get accepted to PsyD, so I had conversations and it was like, okay, maybe you should go into masters in social work. Got to masters in social work, got into a 2-year program. I was like, oh, this is a lot. I went to a part-time program and it was a 3-year program, pivoting the entire time. And no, I never, thought that when I was deciding that I was going to get my MSW, I wasn't thinking that I was going to have to, not drop, but like go to a part-time program, which will put me on a longer track. I wasn't thinking about none of that. Like I'm just going with the flow of life and just allowing myself to be led by spirit. And so if there's anything that I can tell you to take away from this message, I mean, it's a few things, but go with plan A. Don't feel like you have to overplan and plan for plan B, plan C, plan D. Just go experience life and allow it to meet you where you're at with the next opportunity. I think that's the best thing about it, is because when you stay open to like just the flow of life, then you allow things to meet you where you at. And that's important, because say for example, I decided that, you know, I'm gonna just take my last experience where I got fired from the job, and then I pivoted, and then I came back to Atlanta. If I decided that I wanted to just stay, because I was in Northern California. If I decided I just wanted to stay in Northern California, I'm pretty sure I would have been met with another opportunity to go and do work in another hospital, if I really wanted to do that. But I didn't want to do that, so I decided to come here. And so it's just like, no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, like just allow the next opportunity to meet you, and don't get inundated and overloaded with over planning and over structuring your entire life, because there has to be some ebb and flow. Like it's ebb and flow, ebb and flow. Like that's literally how life works. And so I hope you all enjoyed that message. I will be back here tomorrow with another conversation. If you all have been enjoying these conversations, please leave me a comment and let me know. And yeah, peace, love, and light.